In our meetings, we're getting a taste, right? We're trying to do it, let you get a flavor for what our meetings are like. We always have an engagement question, and since we're all new to each other, it'll just be kind of an icebreaker, introduce yourself type of question. So we'll have everybody say their name, where they live, and what kind of work they do. So I'll kick off. My name is Paula McGee. I live in Spring, Texas, and I am an owner in Mazzi Partners, and I am the Chief Holistic Officer. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go. My name's Anita. I'm in Houston, but would like to move into more healing type work.
I'm Kathy. I live in Dallas, and I'm a CPA. I am a co-owner in a local public accounting firm, and I'm the CEO of my company. And by that, I mean the Chief Essence Officer.
Oh, good one. I'm Kathy.
What does that mean, Kathy?
I know. No.
My name is Jim Spivey. I live in Houston, and I'm Mazzi's Chief Relationship Officer.
My name is Ryan Donovan. I live in Austin, Texas, and I am getting licensed as an LPC LMFT, and I do some part-time work as a consultant for doing personal and organizational transformation work. Yeah, there you go.
I'm Samantha, and I live in Dallas, and I am a student.
My granddaughter.
That's a great work, by the way, being a student.
Being a student, that's right.
What grade are you in, Samantha?
I'm going into 7th grade.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Steele, and I live in Mission, Texas, actually. I was going to say McAllen. It's very close to Mexico. And I'm in the Awakening and Transforming business with Mazzi.
And I'm David. I'm an owner with the boss. And I'm Mazzi's Chief Essence Officer as well. Kathy and I kind of have that distinction. So today, and thank everybody, you all, for being here, we wanted to hold the space for an experience. And this is a new thing for us. This is I think maybe the 3rd time we've done a taster. And every time is new and different. And so we're changing it around all the time, trying to see, does this work? Does this make sense? So if you feel a bit of awkwardness, it's because it's still something new. And I hate doing things that are new if I can't control them and they work perfectly well. So right now I'm kind of going, I just can't wait to see what's going to happen. So what we've done is we've prepared a series of questions that we would like to ask and hold the space for them to be evaluated, discussed, in an effort to share with you a little bit about what Mazzi's business is about. As Jonathan said, we're in the Awakening and Transforming business. What does that really mean? And we wanted to show you that as opposed to tell you about it. Along the way, we would love for you to engage as well if you feel comfortable. And you don't have to, and that's okay. You may not feel comfortable doing it, but we'll give you a chance to engage with us. And if you ever have a question, just kind of, we'll be watching you. You can raise your hand or you can say something and say, hey, and just engage. Does that sound fair?
Yes, it does.
Cool. So I'm going to share my screen and start with our first question that we would love the Mazzi team to kind of lead us through. And I'm assuming everyone can see that, so I don't need to read it. I'll let you digest that just for a bit. And why don't you all answer it for yourself, just inside yourself. And then in a second or two, I'll turn it over to our Mazzi team to see who would like to share.
We're just supposed to do it in your head. Don't understand? Okay, well, that's what this one is.
Okay. Within our Mazzi team, who would love to share? They're wrestling with this first question.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say we've seen these questions before. And so the first time I saw this question, I thought, what does it mean? Fulfilled. Like, what does that even mean? So I chose that box. But then I thought about it, and I realized that there's a part of me that feels ashamed that I don't answer yes 100%. So yeah, after thinking about there's a part of me that fulfilled would mean that I have no relational upsets, and that if I do have a relational upset, it's because people in my life are wrong and they just don't agree with me. And a fulfilled life, if I really could answer the first one, would mean that I would have flocks of people coming to seek me out for my wisdom. I would be like a spiritual master, and I still have that fantasy in my head all the time. So that would be what would give me permission to answer the yes 100%. So that didn't answer where I fall. I think that just says that I am not living a fulfilled life, and that's why I'm here, to wake up. And there are moments when I think the real definition of fulfilled life for me shows up in my life, when I can be present, no matter the emotional upsets in my life, or namely my wife or kids. Like, I can just say everything's good. And that feels really fulfilling. And those moments they show up when I can let go of my fantasy. I'm able to be with myself. I'm able to have peace and joy no matter what's going on. I'm able to like right now, there's a part of my brain that is wanting to get this right for David and Jim in particular, because there's a part of me that wants to please my dad all the time, and they're older white men. They remind me of that. So when I can let all that go, fulfilled life is just being able to be content with who I am, not care about how anyone else is feeling about me in the moment. So that's my first attempt to answer that question.
Well, I was ready to go next until I heard older white man, and then it just...
Especially since you just had a birthday yesterday, right?
I had a birthday. I got called by Social Security about Medicare. I tell you what, now I hear old white man, and I don't want to say a thing now.
Jim, I've been like being intentional about not asking if you're officially a senior citizen, but since you put yourself out there, I'll just say it.
You're already piled on, Jonathan. You might as well just relax now. I want to say, like, emphatically, like, just going inside myself to get to the truth. The truth is no. I'm not experiencing a fulfilled life, and that's why I'm giving my life to learning and awakening and transforming to get to a place where I can feel fulfilled. And if I had seen this question 10 years ago, I would have answered yes 100% without thought, because I just think it's the right answer and I got to get that. So, but no, the answer simply is no, and I don't feel embarrassed by it. I feel energized by it. It's the truth. And I love having people with whom I can wake up and have a transformation experience. So I'm thrilled to be here in my no. That's what I want to say.
Who amongst the community, anybody would love to share? And Kathy, there's feedback on your mic a lot, so I'm just keeping it on mute and off, and I'm just watching you, just so you don't have to worry about it. I worry about it.
Thank you. So I'm wondering if fulfilled is something, it's sounding like it's something different for everybody. Or it could be something different. I'm trying to come up with a definition in my mind of what that means. And it's starting to feel like it means something different to everybody.
What does it mean to you, Kathy?
Well, to me it means that I'm content no matter the circumstance, that I give up worry and trust God in every circumstance. And so my answer is no, and I don't think I will be until I'm with God in heaven. So that's my answer. I think it's a process, and we work toward it. I don't think we arrive until the end, or the next phase, shall I say. It's not the end of the human existence.
I love your definition. Would anyone else like to share?
As I was listening to everyone's answers, I was kind of relating to all of them, especially Jonathan's, where I feel like, I can say 100% yes when I'm in kind of spirit, like if I can just let go of everything and realize I have everything I need and everything's good in this moment, everything's perfect, then yes. But then I can also see how my personality wants other things in certain areas. So then my answer would be the second choice.
Yeah. Very cool. Ryan, if you want to share, that's great. Well, we can just move on to the next question because there's lots of opportunities to share. What would you like?
Yeah, no, I can go. Initially my response is absolutely not. And there's definitely things that I don't have that I want. And then when I accept that, I kind of move into a place of that being okay, and in that sense, I do feel more fulfilled. So I don't know, some combination of those first two, kind of fluctuating in and out of. But I have to start with the reality that that's not how I feel all the time.
Yeah. Very cool. Go ahead, Kathy.
So Samantha wanted me to read. She actually looked up the definition of fulfilled. She didn't want to read it, but she wanted me to. So
awesome.
So it means satisfied or happy because of fully developing one's abilities or character. Just wanted to share that.
I like that. Thank
I
you.
like that.
Me too.
Oh, she wants me to read the synonyms. You can do this, satisfied, content, contented, happy, pleased, gratified, comfortable, serene, placid, untroubled, at ease, at peace.
Very cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam, for looking that up.
If it's okay, I want to share a quote in honor of Sam and what she just did. And I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Little Prince by Saint Exupery. He said, grown-ups never understand anything for themselves, especially the things that think and talk like they do, and it is tiresome for young people to be always and forever explaining things to them. So thank you for explaining it to us.
As a matter of fact, what she did? She reached for my phone and I said, I thought she was going to go play on it. I made up my story and she's looking at what fulfillment. So got to stay out of the way and step back.
Cool. All right, the second question for us to examine. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Who would like to start within the Mazzi team about sharing themselves where they think they are on this one.
I can start. So the fact is, I have been working on my self-awareness for years, and the truth is, I don't have a clue. I mean, that's the whole spectrum. Right?
What's wrong with you?
Because the more it's like kind of like the more you delve into that, the more you realize you don't know. So, yeah, and I could probably fall more into the number 2 in that it's easier to see it in other people than it is myself. So that judgment thing can pop up a lot. So that's my spectrum.
Who else would like to share?
Samantha looked up our definition.
Oh.
Okay.
Here goes Samantha, yeah.
This is her, but she doesn't want to read it, so I will read it. Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. That's a lot to be conscious of. Your character, your feelings, your motives, and your desires. The more I've gone down the Mazzi path, the more I'm kind of like Paula. It's like I'm becoming more aware, but the more aware I am, I'm aware of how much I don't know and how much I don't know about other people around me, actually, too. How I've made up my interpretation of what's motivating someone else instead of what it may really be, or within myself, too. Make up a story about it.
Yeah. Who else would like to share?
Yeah, when I read the responses, I was like, all of those. All of them.
Yeah, when I heard Paula, I agreed with everything she said and the way she said it. I have nothing to add to it. Yeah.
What do you think we mean by blind spots? Maybe Sam can look that up.
Sam, you want to look that up?
I think patterns, like unseen patterns from childhood. Or at least that's what it means to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. It's hard for me to see myself. It's easier for others to see me. Now, do they have the courage to tell me what they see? That's a different issue that I co-create with others. And for me, Mazzi is a place where I become aware of my blind spots and can work through them, develop new habits, new patterns of behaviors. And I have to deal with the fact that I think most of the time I don't have any. And I don't enjoy it initially when somebody says, you did that thing again that you talked about just a few minutes ago, you did it right now. And I'm going, what do you mean by that? I thought I had arrived. And through that courageous act of another human being helping me see myself, I have a chance to wake up. Or not. Maybe I'll fight them for a while and let them know how dumb they are. Any other thoughts about this one that anyone would love to share?
You want to read it?
Go ahead.
She wants to read this one.
Yes.
There is multiple definitions, but I think the one we're looking for is an area in which a person lacks understanding or impartiality.
Oh, impartiality. It's a hard word, but yeah, I think that's the one.
I never heard that word.
Yeah, I definitely don't lack impartiality.
Shall we look that one up?
Yeah, look up lack. I don't think it means what he thinks it means.
Look up BS.
BS.
Ryan, were you going to say something?
I mean, I've heard it said, you don't know what you don't know. I think is kind of the definition I function with, and I think all those things are definitely true about me as well. I think what I've found about myself is that when I think I can see it in somebody else, it means I haven't seen it in myself. And then there's another part where the things I can see in other people are because I can see it in myself. But it's those times when I usually keep my mouth shut because I can see that I'm the same as the other. So yeah, that's it.
This next one may be fun. Can everybody see that? Who would love to share around this one?
Love is a strong word. Who would like to share? Who would be willing to share?
Being an Enneagram Type 2, Paula, I would love to share.
There you go.
Thanks for being helpful.
Yeah, thank you. I think in this one I can really honestly say that I'm a student of life. And I would say as a kindergartner, not as like a PhD student. I'm like fumbling in the sandbox. But I can own my studenthood, that I've surrendered to being a student.
I would say I agree with Jim on that one. I feel like I'm a student, and most of the time that means I don't know what I'm doing. And yes to all the other ones at certain other points along the way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When I read all of those, I'm like, yeah, at different times, I can find myself in all of those answers.
Sam's response was that she doesn't really understand, and she doesn't make it sound like she's stupid. Of course, she's not stupid. This is about, or maybe she's too young to understand what this means. So maybe y'all could just elaborate it on a little bit, put a little more context and flavor around those questions for her. You know?
Yeah.
Put them back up maybe and then talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay. Here we go.
Can you see them, Sam?
Say yes. Yes.
Yeah. So most of my life, for me, Sam, I lived with the first one, that I had life all figured out. And I had no problem making things happen. Things were kind of easy for me, even though I worked really hard and I played really hard. I relished life as a thrill for me to win at. I then have gone through periods of my life where things just don't work no matter what I do. And that's really the second one. It almost feels like I'm trying to push water uphill with a rake. And it just won't work. Whatever I try, it just won't work. And sometimes that lasts for a minute, and sometimes that lasts for years. It just depends on where I'm at. The third one feels like life is just a really scary place, and I'm kind of hanging on by a thread. Even if I could make things happen, or I'm struggling to make things happen, the truth is that it's already always feeling like it's just going to crash at any moment. And I'm holding on like a thread. I'm holding on to life really, really hard. If somebody would say something to me at that moment, I would probably lash out. It's almost like I have, I'm cleaning up the table dishes, and I have them all in my arms, and one of my kids says, "Hey, Dad, can you help me with this?" And I'm going, "Do you not see that I've got this all under, I can't do one more thing?" And the last one is a little bit, it feels like a great day at school. You know you're going to be tested. You know you're going to learn some things. You know you're going to have fun with friends. You know it's going to suck at times. And that's okay. That's how you live life. Just ready to take another day, another moment. Like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen, and I can't wait to figure out how wrong I was a few minutes ago.
It's a place of curiosity.
Place of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
That help, Sam? Yeah, I find I can be in all of those, depending upon the second of the day or the moment of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I end up picking others so much often. Any other reflections on this one from anybody? Are you guys getting a sense for what Mazzi's about? Yeah. We have one more question, and then we can that we can talk about, and then we can go a little bit about how we would structure kind of a facilitated conversation around certain topics through the Cultivating Our Souls program. Would that be helpful? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So the last question that we prepared, does that sound good? I'm looking at a Mazzi team as well. Does it feel like we should go to the last question, or should we dive right into the roadmap?
I think given our time, we should just let this question sit there and let them look at it and get a sense of it and not dive into it in any detail so that you can, yeah.
So we can jump to the roadmap? Okay. All right.
Go ahead and put it up.
Yeah, I'll show them the question. Here's the last question. We'll come back to this after we share a little more about the Cultivating Our Souls program. Did everybody have a chance to really digest that? Sam, do you have any questions? Nope? Okay. So we created the Cultivating Our Souls program so that people could have an experience of what it would be like to potentially work with Mazzi. Even though when you're in the Cultivating Our Souls program, you're working with Mazzi, you're not really working at the depth of the foundational service that we provide for everyone who engages with Mazzi. And that service is a life plan. And a lot of people aren't ready to say, let's do a life plan, until they kind of talk around the edges, find out a little bit more. And that's why we created the Cultivating Our Souls program, is how do you expose people to the work, the kinds of conversation, kinds of work that could be done with Mazzi without them saying, I'm ready. And a lot of people are ready, but a lot of people aren't. So we created this program to touch the base of several different dimensions about awakening and transforming. The work is structured over 12 different meetings where we work through 6 different topics. The first topic we address.
Jim could do 3. Could do 3 if you want to break it up.
Yeah, if we want to do that. Jim, you want to take the first 3, and Jonathan, maybe you guys could take the last 3. As a type 8 who loves to control everything, I'm happy to do the whole thing. But I don't know if that makes sense. Jim, would you love to do?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So Mazzi is a Greek word that means together. So one of the things that we emphasize is that everybody contribute. So anytime any one of us is kind of like taking over, we're just kind of like, hey, would you like to bring the group in? And that's why we like to have engagement type of COS tasters to engage the thing. So that was just a
cool. If you had to guess which one of the Mazzi team probably struggles the most with wanting to control everything, which one would you guess? Probably Paula.
And who created the company that wants to have everybody, being together.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Don't criticize yourself so much.
You're on mute, Jim.
I was just saying that Paul is particularly on today. I really like it.
Yeah, she has been lately.
Yeah, we have an opening for a new team member who would like to join. I picked Sam. Jim, would you like to do the first three and share a bit about the framework we'll use?
So before I go through the first three, I want to point to that center box. And if you were to consider that doing a life plan is like climbing Mount Everest, well then going through the COS program is like building a base camp of resources and community that you will be engaging to make the climb. Does that make sense? We're going to lay out the tools, we're going to lay out the framework, you're going to be able to look at the mountain and talk about it together, but you're not actually in the climb yet. So the first of the tools or frameworks we talk about is called the integrated life. It's the backbone of everything we believe, that underneath our subconscious mind that's responding to life, there is a river flowing that involves our relationship with God or the divine, our relationship with ourselves, with our partner, with our children, with our parents and siblings, with our friends and community, and our purpose in life. That this is a fully integrated, connected model that operates from the inside out. So we spend a significant amount of time, 2 meetings, talking about the nature of the integrated life. Then we use what's called the Enneagram, which is a very rich information resource to help us understand the nature of our particular personality. And we don't use it to type ourselves or label ourselves. We use it to shine a flashlight on the ways in which our personality operates when we're in our subconscious mode. And then the third component is discovering our 1.0 selves. We refer to our subconscious patterns, both in the areas of woundedness and in the areas of ego, as our 1.0 self. And it's operating on automatic pilot most of the time. And brain scientists are discovering that we are run more by our subconscious mind than we realize. In fact, 95 to 99% of the time, our subconscious patterns, many of which are lies, are driving our choices and running our lives. So those are the first 3 things that we unpack. And we call this a framework instead of a process, because even though it's listed as a linear progression, we move around, we'll go back and forth. We'll start talking about the integrated life, bring some Enneagram information in, move back and recap some things, move forward to discuss the 1.0 self. So I think that's the first half that I'd like to describe. Is that okay?
So one of the parts of a life plan experience is a clearing. And the metaphor that we use is to take out the trash of the lie of our 1.0 self that Jim described. The discipline of clearing, there's different methods that we explored together, is the continual practice of taking out the trash, because our brain or our 1.0 self seems to fill up really quickly. At least for me it does. I'm sorry, Taryn, my wife, sent me a message that says, I got in touch with my inner self today. That's the last time I'll buy 1-ply toilet paper at the dollar store. That was a big distraction. So I need to clear that to be present. But that's the kind of humor that my wife has. Okay, moving on. The next thing that says examining vital distinctions.
You just mentioned one, Jonathan, a vital distinction. 1-ply versus 2-ply.
Dollar store versus HEB.
Yeah. Oh, she's hilarious. Oh, God. So yeah, vital, exactly. So there's an example of vital distinction. Another important vital distinction for the work of awakening and transforming, just as an example, is what is awake. We often explore it, awakening and transforming versus learning and growing. And we believe that our work is the space that Ryan, you said, we living in the we don't know that we don't know, and what David said, we look forward to realizing what that is again and again and again. And it all moves towards the last one, which is surrendering to our highest self. which is what a life plan is all about. It's remembering who we've always been. And we sometimes use 2.0 self, but it's really not an improvement. So sometimes we say it's the 0.0. It's a return back to who we've always been.
Very cool. Thank you, guys. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a distinction that many times people see this conversation about highest self and purpose and calling, and they think that their work is to create that or to develop a plan to get to that. And what we're discovering is when we remove the lies, it's there already, and it shows up effortlessly. So the work is to get the lies of the subconscious patterns out of the way so that the remembering happens effortlessly, not through using the brain that's caught in subconscious patterns to try to solve its own problem. Make sense?
That it created.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to pause as we're noticing time. We have 3 or 4 minutes left. What questions do you have? What reflections? Kathy and Anita have both been through the full program, so I don't know if there's any thoughts or questions that any one of us have or any reflections.
Can you put up the last slide you had on that has kind of the whole curriculum on there?
The roadmap? Yeah, I sure can, buddy.
Thanks.
Is that it? Cool.
Actually, instead of is that on the site? I'm sure that's on the site. Yeah. Can I find?
I can send that to you if you would like. Would that help?
That would. Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely. I don't know, Kathy, if you have any reflections, or Anita, if you'd like to share anything as we start to wrap up.
I do. So Ryan just saying the word curriculum kind of brought it to my mind, because that's the way we're taught to think. The whole process is more of a experience than a teaching. You know, it's like they have said that already, but it's discovering versus teaching, a practicum versus a curriculum. So, and there's not a beginning point and an arrival point, an ending point to this. It's not like you graduate this course or something. So I just kind of wanted to throw those elements came to my mind in this as we're wrapping up.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, I would just like thank you all so much. It was an amazing experience the first 6 months, and I'm really excited about Kathy starting like the second phase together. I'm so excited about that next week. And even as I'm listening and to these questions and like looking at that roadmap again, I'm like, I would like to go through the first one again. So,
very cool.
And Anita, if I can, I hope you can see your influence on us, because I remember you listening to one of our meetings saying, it sounds like a presentation of material instead of like getting at the feel of it, right? Like, yeah. And we heard you, and that's part of the reason that we've morphed this into more of an experience than a presentation.
Yeah, love it. Like answering these questions and hearing everyone else and how they answer. Like, yes, I definitely loved it, and I think that's a reason why I want to do the first one again now. I was like, oh, I like these questions.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, we have a couple quick questions. Ryan, you were going to say something, buddy.
Yeah, I've got a question. How does when somebody enters into this process, what are they? Is the format all like this? I mean, is it all online with the whole group, or what's the experiential piece look like?
Yeah, the experiential piece, the workshop, if you will, it's just like this. So it's done through Zoom. It's done through an hour program for each meeting, where we'll take a topic. There would have been most of the time assignments and things that you could work to prepare, things we would have sent out to get your
exercises, right?
Exercises.
Yes. What did I say? Assignments?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that's my me going unconscious that they're exercises, they're assignments, really. Come on.
It's homework. No.
It's homework.
Faster.
By the way, I love how quickly people correct David. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to give myself another 5 years before I say I love it, but I get it. Does that help? Did that help, Brian?
It does, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. A couple of thoughts. Really quick, we have 12 meetings to go through under this. In the past, we've done 2 meetings a month on a specific date at a specific time that we all agree for whoever wants to sign up and say that is. I'd love to hear Anita and Kathy, you share, if that was done over 12 weeks, back to back to back weeks, which would work out to be about 2.5 months to 3 months. Would that be better than if it was strung out over 6 months? If you had to do it all over again, which would you prefer?
Not me. I liked it the way it was. I think that would be too compacted and too, there has to be a little bit of time to reflect and think on these exercises. And I think that the 2 weeks between help.
Okay, so time in between. All right, Anita, I'm
That's
watching.
Yeah, I relate to what Kathy said, is like having the time in between, but then I also every other week do emotion code with Paula. So I like how my week, so personally, I like how my week where I'll have COS and then I meet with Paula and then COS with Paula. For me, it like works beautifully. So Thank you for.
Cool, thank you. The second thing is, Ryan, we also record these events. So like if you miss one, or you want to go back and hear it, you can do that. It'll be the resources that we go through. You'll have your own website. The old group will have your own website. It'll be all made available that you have access to. And I have a question, and feel free completely to say no to this. One of the things we would love to do, we've recorded this meeting, and it'll go nowhere if you say no. But I would love, if you're willing, to take this and make it as one of the videos under the tasting for people that may not want to come to a tasting but would love to watch one to see what a COS is like. Would you guys be okay if we shared this recording to on our website? And it's, again, okay to say no completely.
I'm fine with that.
You know, Kathy, what do you think?
No, I think it's good. I just asked Sam and she said she didn't care, so we're good with it.
Okay, all right. Anita said yes, she put her finger up. On our website, there's a lot of questions and answers, frequently asked questions about the whole program, how to sign up. Generally, if you say, yes, I'd really like to do it, you just sign up. It reserves your spot. We try to keep it around 5 to 8 people maximum. And once we get kind of a group that says, yes, we're ready to go, we'll reach out and we'll say, when do we want to do it? And we'll pick a time as a group. You will tell us when's a good time during the week on a consistent basis that you would do it, and then you would get started. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Any other things as we wrap up? Thank you guys for letting me go over just a few extra minutes.
No.
No? Awesome. It was good to meet you, Ryan. It was good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, yes it was.
And Kathy, we'll see you next week too. Everyone have a great weekend.